Hey guys, this is gonna be a different kind of video. I'm gonna be breaking down an effect that I did for a commission. Here's how it looks. Oh, sorry, that's wrong a here. So, oh, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, here's the effect. I did this for a commission, and someone in the Rovi Effects Discord asked me how to do a pillar or an explosion effect, and I think this kind of applies. Um, So yeah, this was based off the Smash Bros effect when you kill someone, and it's a honestly it's a pretty simple effect to make. I'm just gonna be showing you how to do the main pillar as well as all the particles. Um, this one is a little bit messy, but sorry about that. But it works out. Hold on. Okay, now we're focused. So what we're gonna start with is obviously this mesh. Let me bring it out here. Um, yeah, so as you can see, it is one single mesh, but obviously it has a bunch of different colors. So this is really simple to do in a Blender. So I'm going to show you how to do that first. So it's quite a big mesh. So yeah, we're going to open Blender first. And obviously make a new project file and everything. Or yeah, sorry. I need to readjust because I've been using Maya a lot for class, so just bear with me here. Um, okay. So we're gonna start with just a cylinder. So Shift A, then cylinder. Now in the bottom right here, we should probably just make sure that the vertices aren't too high because obviously this will affect optimization. Hold on, let me see. How do I see view statistic? There we go. So this is 124 triangles, which obviously is not a lot, but ideally we just want to keep this as optimized as possible. So we're going to make this 16 maybe 8. No, 8's a little too much. I mean it's gonna be neon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, we'll work with that. Okay. And what we're gonna do is just go into edit mode by pressing tab, select everything. Mesh, normals, flip. Now what that'll do is it'll make the mesh almost see-through. Like you can see how I fly around and you don't really see the front face of it, you only see the back faces of it. So it creates a really cool effect where if I, let's say, put in a Roblox character, you'll be able to see it at whatever angle you go through, even though there's a mesh right there, which is pretty cool. And you can do some really cool stuff with this. Like if I were to just make this a highlight, make it black, you already get this really cool contrast looking effect that make it occluded. And yeah, it's pretty cool looking. So that's why we do that. And here we're just gonna scale this by a bunch. So let's make this really tall. Do like 45, sure. Yeah, I think that's good. Another thing we want to do is we want to shade smooth, just so in Roblox you don't really see the polygons. Because if it's shaded flat, then you can see obviously all the faces and stuff. So we want to try and make it look as smooth as possible. And now here is the fun part. So we're gonna click the top left here where it says object mode, then click vertex paint. And we're gonna go to, I think, solid. Yeah, okay. Now, you wanna pick a color here. We're gonna go for a let's start with a peaches, like a peachy kind of pinky red. I think that'd be quite cool. So we're just gonna color it in. It's a little finicky at first, so just make the brush size really big and it should just cover everything, I think. You kind of just have to fly around and just keep going at it until it works, I guess. It is kind of finicky, but yeah. We can try top view and see if that makes it any easier. Yeah. So we'll go on the bottom view now. And if you want to, we can do something really cool and make like a gradient effect. So we can have it go from peachy to maybe like a dark purple or like a pink. We'll go to the bottom here, color this in. Oh, it won't let us. Yeah, it's it's a little finicky trying to do the coloring here, but just bear with it. Just keep going till it works, I guess. I'm not really sure what decides whether it gets. I think we have to color on the faces. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So already we have this really nice color transition that looks pretty nice. And yeah, so that's pretty much the first step done, and now we just have to duplicate this and do it for the other layers. So as you can see here, I've got a white layer, red, blue, yellow, and then a pretty subtle black outline. And we're gonna keep doing that. So I want to do like a kind of sunset kind of look. I think that would look pretty cool. So let's go back into vertex paint. So we could do, this could be the main one. Actually, we're gonna make this one a little bigger, so we're gonna scale this by, let's say, on the y-axis by pressing S, then Y. We'll do that by 5, ooh, maybe 4, SX4. Now we can copy and paste that, and we're gonna scale this down by, let's say, -2. Oh, no, 0.5. Sorry, 0.5, 0.5. Now we're gonna make this one fully white. This will be like the little inside, similar to this one over here. So let's just do that. Make this one all the way white. Quick way you can do is just type in the values here, 0, 0, 1, which will be, obviously the hue is 0, the saturation is 0, and the value is 1. So we can do that. I think there is an option where it says, I think you can affect all faces? I'm not sure. I don't know, there's probably an option that I'm missing, but if there is, then let me know in the comments. So, yeah, we're just gonna keep painting around till it's all covered up. We don't want any purple faces here, because that would look kind of weird. There we go, and then just the bottom one. There we go. That's our inner layer done. And for this tutorial, I'm gonna keep it kind of simple. Just gonna do a inner white, purple sunset kind of tone, and just like a black outline, because obviously this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, and it didn't take long because the process is just really simple. But obviously for the tutorial, I just want to compact this by a bit. And another thing you can see here is that the top is kind of Z-fighting. Now obviously you won't really see this in game because you're going to be looking at the pillar from a perspective like this where it's head on. But ideally, just for good housekeeping, just size it up by the Z-axis by a tiny bit, just so you don't see the Z-fighting anymore. If you zoom out, it'll still be there, but we don't really care about that. As long as you can't see it when you're up close, then that's what matters. So I think we'll do one more. We'll just copy paste this and size it up by the X-axis by a tiny bit. We'll do, oh, not that. 1.25, 1.25, and just make sure it's a perfect circle, because sometimes you can mess it up and look a little wonky. But there we go. We'll hide the other two just for now, and then we can go to vertex paint and yeah, just color this in again. So we'll make this fully black. There we go, and this would look really cool. The black purple transition, but it's not what we're doing, unfortunately, but you guys can, feel free to experiment with all this. And I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So once we've done all this, we're gonna make sure everything is in place. Just make sure all the sizes are okay, so I think that looks good. I think the white part is a little too skinny. So I think we're going to just size that up by 1.25, 1.25. I think that'll work. But worst case scenario, we can always come back into Blender and just adjust it again. So we're gonna merge all these by pressing Ctrl J to join them. Sorry. And from here, we're going to do File, Export as an FBX. This step is really important because I'm not sure if OBJ carries over the vertex paint data. So export FBX, then choose wherever. I'm just gonna put it here. Pillar tutorial. Downloads. Make sure this is all okay. That's perfect. There we go. Okay. Now we'll go back into Roblox. And we're going to import this by going to... bear with me, I really hate this new UI. I think, yeah, import, there we go. So we'll do this, pillar tutorial. As you can see here, the colors are already showing, which looks really, really nice. And yeah, we'll import this using scene position. It doesn't really matter any of these settings, I think. If there's an error here, this is just a size, which it doesn't really matter. So we'll import that. Let that import, just give it a sec, there we go. Now let's give this neon. So it's already colored. Looks really cool. Now if we make this, oh, not dual-sided, neon. There we go, that looks pretty nice. And it's kind of muted right now, but if we move the color up to, let's say, kind of like that, you can already see this is like a really nice looking gradient. So from here, the particles are kind of simple. It's honestly just like a bunch of spam. I'm just gonna break down the effect here, because I don't really want to recreate it. I can't really be bothered. Okay, I pretty much finished recording the video and I realized I was paused, so I'm not really sure where I left off. So I'm just gonna restart. So the start is a pretty simple mesh expansion using VFX Forge. With a few particles, there's these black lines, which are just a stretched out star texture, which is why there's like little, you can see that there's a, there's, what's the word for it? It's like curve, I guess. Yeah, you can see that it eases in, I guess. Yeah. The specs, these are very simple. They're like a nice glowy texture with a nice rainbow gradient. The stars, these are a special texture that I did. They're very, very simple. Let me just open them up real quick. Here. That's another texture I'm going to show you guys. So yeah, it's a very simple texture. Just the same texture but recolored on a sprite sheet. So it helps adding some randomness and works pretty well, I think. So yeah, that's just the start of it. Now, this has a duration of 0.1 seconds. So the main effect has a delay of 0.1 seconds, so obviously you get this kind of seamless look when, you know, you don't really see the two meshes change. So we're going to look through this one now. This is the main effect. So this is the same black lines, except there's a lot more of them. Looks a lot more messy, I think. Yeah, so they kind of help cover up the mesh. They look pretty cool. Now the confetti. This is a pretty interesting well, it's simple. It looks pretty simple on the surface, but it's a little more, I guess, nuanced if you want to think about it like that. So the texture itself is, if I go back one, yeah, it's this. So it's a bunch of colors on a sprite sheet. So it's 4x4, and yeah, you get this really cool random color look without having to make like a bunch of different emitters which have different colors. A lot more optimized and just generally easier to work with. The effects are ping pong, so obviously you don't see the flip book just change colors randomly. Let me see how that would look. Yeah, it looks kind of a little bit too much. So we're just gonna focus with 0 frame rate, so it just looks more like actual confetti. The sparks, these are pretty cool. So they're kind of just like a simple rainbow effect. Again, kind of pastel, peachy colors. But there is something cool that I didn't really know about until I did this effect. So if I select this and then, yeah, edit particle, you can see that it's a cylinder, but it's going outwards outside the mesh's bounds. So in here, if you go down to emitter shape and change the shape partial to like minus whatever, it'll pretty much just go outside of the mesh boundaries, which I only found about that recently. I didn't know about this, and it's pretty helpful. Especially for these pillar effects where, you know, maybe you want to have some more stuff going on outside the effect and not really inside the mesh boundary. So it is very, very helpful. So yeah, here's how all of these look for now. Obviously, it's a bit of a mess without the pillar, but you can see the vision. Specs, these are well, pretty much copy pasted from the startup, but they just have a longer lifetime. And yeah, there's not really much to say about them. They have a slight upward acceleration, so they kind of subtly float up when they're done emitting, or not emitting, but when they're kind of flying up in the air. The stars, now these are effectively a copy-paste of the specs. As you can see, pretty much identical lifetimes, almost identical speeds, but yeah. A lot of VFX work, admittedly, is just copy-pasting stuff that you already have and seeing how it looks with different textures and settings. And obviously, don't think that you're just going to copy-paste one effect like a million times and it'll look good, because no, there obviously is still some input that you have to give. But yeah. The stars, these are obviously another copy-paste from the startup that I showed you guys earlier. And the circles, these are probably a copy-paste of the specs with some adjusted settings. And they give like kind of a faint, kind of subtle, glowy, very like magical look to it, I guess. And there's one last thing, which is just a simple ring mesh, which just flies up, gives it a lot of motion. And it ends up looking quite cool. You can find this kind of mesh like in the toolbox for free, or you know, if you want to go into Blender and do it yourself, it's really just Shift A, torus, scale it up, and we can just, oh, hold on, no, not like that. Shift A, torus, and we can just edit the settings over here, like make it, you know, more smooth, less smooth. But yeah, ideally just use one from the toolbox because you don't really need to make one your own. Toolbox meshes are perfectly fine to use, you know, just go to here, meshes, then, you know, ring. Yeah, like, there is a bunch that you can use. Obviously, there's a lot of garbage on here, but, you know, you just gotta filter through and see what's good. Another good thing to have as a VFX artist is Zonito Visuals. It's like a big open library of a bunch of textures, meshes, and you can even add your own ones, so there's probably a ring one here. Ring. Yeah, obviously there's a bunch. There's some that I imported on my own, but yeah. It's very helpful if you're an artist and just looking for some assets to use, and they're obviously open source, so you know, it just tries to get away from that gatekeeping that the VFX community has a lot of. But yeah, in combination you get this pretty cool effect. And yeah. It's a little messy, I have to admit, looking back at it. I could probably clean this up a little bit more, but the most important thing is the commissioners are happy with it. And if the commissioners are happy, you know, your life is easy. So yeah, that's how I made the effect. Obviously it's kind of a specialized effect because it's based off the one from Smash Bros. Let me see if I can find a video of it. Smash Bros. Ring out effect. Ooh. Not like that. What is this? Smash Bros. Ring out explosion. Yeah, stuff like this. One from Ultimate. Here. This is probably a better reference. Also, another thing. If you're trying to recreate an effect from a game, go onto YouTube and just search it up. A really good thing to do is just slow down the video. Make this like 0.25. And you can just get a better look of how the effect, like, what it's made of. So you can see the stars, the different color stars, the confetti, the bunch of shards. Like, this effect, like, this texture over here, and the spark texture over here, they're very familiar, or they're very similar. So you can really just look at these effects and try to study them, try to make out the individual particles. Obviously, mine is a little more crazy, but, you know, I don't really have an excuse for that. But yeah, just do your best to study these effects. The best way to learn, honestly, is to recreate stuff that you like. That's obviously how I got my start, recreating stuff from ABA or just other stuff that I found fun. So find a game you like and try to recreate effects from that. Study them, see what they're made of, and yeah. So these two effects have a pretty similar vibe. Mine is a lot more crazy, you can say. But yeah, I hope this tutorial helped out. And if it did, let me know. Obviously, yeah, like I said, this is a very specific effect, but it's pretty applicable. Like, I've seen a bunch of showcases where people have these big explosions and there's a big pillar in the middle. And I think this fits. And honestly, it's a very simple effect to break down. It's a very simple effect to make. So yeah, if this helped out, do let me know. And this was suggested in the RoVFX Discord server. So if you guys have any other suggestions, let me know, because I do like, you know, not taking your ideas, but you know, trying to help you guys out. And try to give me kind of simple, or not simple, but just kind of generic ideas so I can just make it for the vast majority of people. Like, don't ping me and tell me like, oh, how do I make this effect from like GPO or whatever game you're thinking of, because it's not as applicable. I want these tutorials to be as accessible as possible, so I'm just trying to make them very general. And yeah, if this did help out, let me know. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And yeah, thanks you guys for watching. I hope this helped, and good luck with making your effects. Thank you guys.